Someone's just brought this thing in to see if we can do anything with it. It's a guide spigot for a clutch release bearing, and as you can see it's a bit worn out. So the question is, can we replace this? Either cut it off here and weld a new bit of tube on, or maybe take the whole thing off and weld a new tube in to the base plate. Not quite sure what's the best way of doing it. If we cut it here above, this bit looks like it's unworn. If we cut it off there, we could maybe put something up the middle as a spigot to align the new bit while we tack it on. But then we're going to have a weld to clean up afterwards. Whereas if we make it all in one piece, this will all be nice and smooth, but we've got to worry about getting it welded on square. I think I'll go for a whole tube. First find our tube, because this is 26.5mm diameter, this unworn piece, and a pretty thin wall, about 24.1 maybe on the bore. So yeah, I've got to make a tube first. So I found this old motorcycle wheel spindle. I've no idea what it's out of, why we've got it, and it was in the scrap bin ready to be slung out into the scrap steel. But yeah, a bit bigger on the OD than we need and a bit smaller on the bore, apart from this bit where it sways down to take this 25mm thread. So we're going to part this off, turn it and bore it, and yeah, see how we go from there. Well, as per usual, or often usual, you really can't take a few thou off with a carbide tip, at least not this tip anyway. I might try one that's meant for aluminium, which has at least got a sharp cutting edge on it. Otherwise it will be, I've got 0.07 of a mil to come off of this. Quite a bit actually to take off with some paper or emery cloth, whatever, but I don't know, let's see if we can take a bit more off with the a sharp tool. Of course, the other thing is, if you're trying to get a decent finish, carbide needs to be run a lot faster. Okay, it's a little bit, still a bit big, but maybe some paper, cloth will polish that up now. I think that'll do us. Right, I've just cut the tube off the flange and I'm just going to level this up. I actually bored this out on the lathe to 26.5mm and it didn't want to come apart. The metal was just pushing out the way rather than cutting, so I've just cut it off with a junior hacksaw and I'm going to just flatten this off on the surface grinder. Right, that tiny little register on the tube will fit in the flange. And that fits quite nice, squared off. So all we've got to do now is weld it. Yeah. I was thinking about tacking it at the bottom, but it might be easier. Clamp this together and put some tacks around here. Well, I started with 3 little fuse tacks between the holes. There's one there, one there, one just about there, and then I thought I'll put a little weld across the holes. So I did a little weld there, another little one across there, and another one there. And then I thought, well, I'll flip it over and see if I can do something on the back side. And when I flipped it over, some of those little welds had melted right the way through. So I have just proceeded to just fuse all this together. This is just a fuse welded all the way around here. Didn't really use the turntable, just not as I was welding. You'd weld a little bit and then turn it tiny amount and then carry on welding. But yeah, no filler on any of this. And then when I turned it back over, I saw that my fuse welding had come through. This has come through its penetration from the other side. And there I was thinking that I'd do another little bit of welding over here, but no, I think that's it. That is done. I don't know how thick that is there, or whether that is really thin across there, but we don't want a big weld showing anyway. So I think that has got to be it. And if that is too much, and that's the only worry now, is that that might be a problem. I don't think the bearing comes down that far. Didn't look like it on the original one. So I'm hoping that'll do. I think I'm just going to have to take it away and try it. And if that's a problem, it'll have to be gently relieved with a, I don't know, little angle grinder, I suppose, edge of a cut-off disc, maybe, just to take that down if it needs it. But I'm hoping that's going to do the job. So this was all pretty thin. The wall thickness of the tube has ended up being 1.2 millimeters. This material that this flange is made out of is about the same. So yeah, 1.2 millimeters thick all the way around this. So where I used a little bit of filler wire, the filler wire was MIG wire, 0.8. I was using a 1 millimeter tungsten, and I think I started off running at about 44 amps. I've ended up at 40.